Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my experience with the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. So of course, as you guys can see right now, I've got it next to the Samsung Galaxy S3, and don't be fooled, that is a skin made by Slick Wrap. I reviewed it in the past, so this isn't a brand new color that Samsung has put out for the Galaxy S3. That is a skin that does literally cover the entire phone. But I do have this out here for scale because the goal of today's update about the Note 2 is really to address the question for those of you out there who are trying to figure out whether or not the Galaxy Note or the Samsung Galaxy S3 is right for you. So really, they're there next to each other for the most important reason, which is size. Because in my opinion, if you're going to ask me which device is better, there's absolutely no question that the Note 2 is in every single way a better device than the Galaxy S3. On the other hand, if you're going to ask me about practicality, personal preference, and what's going to suit someone and really make them happy at the end of the day, that's going to largely be determined by comfort. And that's where I have to say that for a lot of you out there, the Galaxy Note 2 is obviously going to be a far from ideal choice. So when we talk about the Galaxy S3, even though I just said the Note 2 is in every way a better device, let's keep in mind that this is still without question one of the best, if not the best, handsets in its class right now on the market. The DNA did just launch. HTC makes a fine product. I've always been a fan of theirs. But one thing I can tell you guys right now is that despite the fact that it has a 1080p display, this still has better battery life than the DNA out of the box. HTC notoriously poor battery life for many years now. It's nothing new. I know this from personal experience, not only just through reviews, and it's something where I would like to see better battery life from HTC, but Samsung has gotten that right, not only in the Samsung Galaxy S3 here, but also the Galaxy Note 2, which I'm going to get to in a moment, because the battery life on that phone is absolutely fantastic. So what it comes down to is that while the US version of this phone doesn't have that quad-core Exynos processor that makes the Note 2 really the best device on the market in my opinion, and of course there are other options like the DNA, which also sports a quad-core brand new chip, which is really, really powerful, but I'm not here to compare those things. The point is that in its form factor, 4.8-inch display, everything that you'd really expect from a modern smartphone right now. You do get an AMOLED display, which is really, really nice. In fact, in my opinion, one of the nicest displays on the market. The only display nicer is the one right here in the background on the Note 2. But size is what this comparison is all about. And if you're someone that simply isn't going to be able to fit something like the Note 2 in your pocket, or you're not interested in having to use two hands to control your device, you want single-handed use, that's where this is the correct device for you. This is available on all carriers. It's been on the market, since the summertime, so it's certainly not a new phone by any means, but it still hangs with all the competition, and the Jelly Bean update is imminent. So you're going to have a lot of the features that you'll find in pretty much every Jelly Bean build on the market, plus the TouchWiz environment, which I have to say, despite its history of really just not being popular, TouchWiz has come a really long way, and coming from me, that says a lot because I was never a fan of it until really my long-term experience with the Galaxy Note 10.1. And now that I've worked with the Note 2, I can really say that TouchWiz is the best stock experience, in my opinion, out of the box from any manufacturer right now, and that's because simply everything works as it should. So let's talk about why I've given this phone so much praise. Cameras, definitely better than what you're going to find on the Galaxy S3, no question, both the rear and the front. LED flash, pretty much exactly the same as what's on the phone back there. The little brother, I will call it, of the Note 2. But what's more important here is the productivity element, and that's all about the S Pen. Some of you will find the S Pen to be a novelty, but because I enjoyed it so much on the Note 10.1, I really saw it as being one of the biggest advantages of moving it towards a handset, because that's where, to me, there is a real practical use for a notepad environment rather than a tablet, because I don't really need to take tablets. Personally, I'm not a student. I'm not taking notes on a tablet on the go, but what I do have with me all the time is my phone. And that's where having this 5.5-inch Super AMOLED display, which is not pen tile, and despite having that Verizon home button that so many of you out there despise, you really do have the ability to take notes. You have one of the best processors under the sun right now. Overall performance simply outstanding. 2 gigs of RAM, NFC, Bluetooth. The Wi-Fi functionality is also great, but I really have no use for it since I've got Verizon's LTE network. And then the flip cover just completes the package. You know, great color scheme, really polished fit. Do wish that it protected the balance of the body of this phone, so that's a bit of an issue. But you know, no bulking up of the body, the footprint whatsoever, like I mentioned. The only thing you really got to get past is whether or not this is the phone for you based on portability. You know, is it practical? Do you have a place to put it? Is it going to fit into your pockets? Does it fit in your palm? I mean, you guys can see right now, it fits in the palm of my hand, but one-handed operation simply isn't going to fly unless you, quite frankly, are LeBron James, which is maybe why LeBron is in all of the Galaxy Note 2 commercials. But I have no problem working with two hands, especially because what I'm gaining in the process is basically a pocketable computer. And that's really where I will differentiate these two phones. So it's not really just about the size or even the pen, but it's more about the fact that one is a phenomenal smartphone, one of the best on the market, especially priced economically now because it's been out for a while, whereas here you're getting cutting edge everything from the Super AMOLED non-pentile 5.5-inch display, which even though it's not 1080p, simply smokes everything else on the market, and I do mean everything. In my opinion, even the 1080p display on the DNA. You're getting a processor that's right there with the processor in the brand new DNA, but of course complemented by just a more robust feature set, and the S Pen just tops it off all really well, even if you're not an artist, because after all, to me, the S Pen here is not about being an artist, it's about being productive. Whereas arguably on the Galaxy Note 10.1, that certainly was about productivity, but artists had a lot to benefit also from the Wacom digitizer experience. So, really liking the Galaxy Note 2. Also want to point out, battery life is amazing. I did mention with the Galaxy S3, battery life is very good, but the Note 2 just sets a whole nother standard. Even though it's got that 3100 mAh battery, between the size of this display and the quad-core processor, the LTE, the graphics chipset, NFC, Wi-Fi, I mean, when I have this phone on full brightness all day, I can't kill it. What can I tell you guys? It still has juice at the end of the day. So this is a first in my experience. I thought that this phone set a new standard. The Galaxy Note 2 makes every other phone when it comes to battery life, including the Max line of Motorola phones, look somewhat weak right now. And I can only imagine as we get more software updates, which granted from Samsung, that doesn't come that often, but hopefully they'll get more aggressive now that they're a Nexus partner. Battery life is only going to get better. So really enjoying the Galaxy Note 2. Can highly recommend it, again, as long as you can deal with the pocketability, the form factor. That's what it's all about, folks, because otherwise you are right now looking at the best handset on the market from just about every possible angle. And no matter what kind of user you are, whether you're, a professional trying to get a mobile computer or just looking for the best multimedia experience combined with internet browsing experience, this offers the best of every single world. And it does, even though it's made of all plastic, there is a bit of heft to it, obviously, because it's a larger handset, and that's something that I like because it is reassuring. Granted, do keep in mind that if you do drop this, it is plastic, so it's going to act like plastic, and as a result, I would recommend trying not to drop it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them, but overall, loving this phone. I think you guys will too, as long as you can get over actually using it. But again, questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.